Good day, my name is Nesielin Allera, third year Bachelor of Physical Education, and today I'm going to answer the various questions for our midterm exam in our subject, Applied Motor Control and Learning of Exercise, Sports, and Dance. First question. Why theory is important in the application of the study of motor skills, includes motor control and learning. Theories are important in the application of motor skills because learning skills requires references in order to comprehend and perform it properly. Researchers develop theories to explain the various observations about how movements are acquired and controlled as a result of empirical research in the field of motor skills. The study and application of motor skills provide a new perspective and on how the numerous components that make up those strong points are linked and interact. These theories will give as a more comprehensive and understandable context in which to learn about different aspects of motor skills. Matter of fact, some of these theories will aid in our understanding of how the components affect human movement control and learning, as well as uncovering new motor skills theories. Question number 2. Explain how far you understand information processing model. The information processing system puts emphasis on how we cope with the massive amount of knowledge available to us when performing the skill. With this, we can analyze and make decisions as well as determine what we will do with the new data generated by our actions. The perceptual stage, the decision-making stage, and the programming stage are the three stages of cognitive processes. The first stage, the perceptual stage, is where the performer receives and processes sensory data from the environment, which involves the two primary tasks, which are the sensation and perception. Sensation will choose and identify information from the environment, while the perception will compare the sensation to memory information. In the second stage, the decision-making stage, where the performer will attempt to select appropriate response to the situation. Finally, the last stage, which is the programming stage, which includes preparing the appropriate motor program to carry out the action and decided upon in the decision-making stage, which involves the performer accessing memory of similar experiences to inform the response choices. The information processing model applies in all areas of sports performing its basic skills. For example, in the sport of volleyball, the skill of spiking. Spiking in volleyball, before spiking, we have preparations before doing the actual skills. Makiramdam muna siya sa paligid niya before doing rapidly the skills. Second, he will think a best response. He will decide where the ball should landed on the opponent's court and how much force of spiking the ball he will release and what's the best timing to attack the ball to hit from the opponent's grab. And lastly, the spiker should perform appropriate motor program after the decision making and connect it similar from the experiences she had before when doing the spiking. Question number 3. Give one example of a closed-loop system of information processing in relation to its definition. Assess the relative strengths and weaknesses of closed-loop system to your given example. A cognitive theory of skill acquisition based on closed-loop control emphasizes the role of feedback in modifying a performer's movement in the course of the performance. Through a feedback system, it is possible to correct movement when it's occurring. Advantages of closed-loop system is where allowing us to correct the movement as it happens, while the disadvantages or the limitations are that movement is slow and the mastering of the skills or movement for a specific task takes multiple attempts. For example, in performing the arnis, you have already practiced the skill on how to perform it, but the only thing that may vary will be the environment or your opponent. In matches, during the performance, you have already chosen where to strike the arnis on your opponent's body, but your opponent reads your movement, so that means you will make adjustments, or your conscious will take place to change your way of striking or hitting the opponent's body. So if you hit this side, the right side of your body, you need to change it immediately by using your your memory, and change it to the left side so that you will hit it and strike and got the point. After that, after the successful outcome, it will be stored in your long-term memory to be used for your future reference. Fourth question. Give one example of an open loop system of information processing in relation to its definition. Assess the relative strengths and weaknesses of an open loop system to your given example. Open loop control explain how rapid movements are performed in sport. Open loop control is a system of subconscious control that does not use or reference to feedback. The absence of feedback means you cannot adjust the skill during the performance. For example, the batting skills cannot be altered if unpredictable changes will arise. Batting is a ballistic skill that would be controlled by open loop. If in a softball match, the situation requires the player to bat the ball. The player has done this many times before, so the skills is well learned, and a plan is already stored in his long-term memory. So the executive memory program for batting is sent from the player's brain and to his effector's mechanism, like his working muscles. Without conscious thought, he bats the ball. So the weakness will be you cannot adjust the skill during the performance, while the strength will have self-contained and self-paced. Question number 5. Explain how far you understand movement constraints in dynamical system theory. As much as possible, please give example. Biological and environmental constraints are both limit the human movement where it's interacting. According to Nesielin, 1986, the 3 types of constraints are constraints imposed by the person or the individual, the environment, and the task itself. First, the constraints imposed by the person. The factors such as the body size, like weight and height. Next, the fitness, their strength and flexibility. Third, mental skills, like the player's concentrations and confidence. Fourth, the decision-making skills, how the players read the opponent's movement. And lastly, the personality factors, where the player is a risk taker or a safe player. The players playing safe. For example, in carrying out a 10 kilo of dumbbell, you will have this factor, and that is a needed strength. So the strength is what the performer will need in carrying out or lifting the dumbbell. Second, the constraints imposed by the environment. The factors that exist in the physical environment that can influence the performance and decision-making processes. The factors such as the court size, height, physical characteristics in the opposition player. For example, in volleyball, performing the spiking, the first factor is the setter. The spiker will depend on its spike after the setter sets the ball, and after that, the opponent's blocker can be the factor of performing the spike. Lastly, the task constraints are factors that are usually more closely related to the performance and include the rules of sports equipment such as balls, bats, rackets, players' numbers, and pitch sizes. For example, when practicing a basketball and learn its basic skill, it is necessary to have the actual ball upon learning the skill for you to feel how much weight the ball have, so that you can control and manage of having the real basketball and performing the skill. If learning basketball without the absence of the equipment will be not effective in learning from it. So that's it for today. Thank you.